Welcome to Besiege Bots, the home of robotic combat in Besiege. In the last two episodes, we decided our first 8 quarterfinalists. From the blue bracket, we have Black and White 2, Cash Crash, Determinator, and Zoltan 7. From the red bracket, we have Madame Squeak, Mental Hammer, Occult MD, and Swamplow 4. In this episode, we will be taking a look at the green bracket's qualifier matches and the subsequent Losers Rumble to decide our last 4 quarterfinalists. But first, let's briefly touch on the format rules once more. The full combat rule set can be found in our first episode. Qualifier matches are best of 3. The first robot to win 2 matches moves on to the quarterfinals. The loser fights in the Losers Rumble. The Losers Rumble is point-based. A win equals 1 point. The first competitor to score 2 points moves on to the quarterfinals. The losers of the Losers Rumble are eliminated from the tournament. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get into our first green bracket matchup, Delta Wave versus Willamille. From the UK, we have Delta Wave, a spin bot with a horizontal bar spinner, ranked 6 on the leaderboard with a 15-6 win-loss record. High speed and a strong weapon are its main strengths, but it has a tendency to sometimes explode. Willamille from the Netherlands once again, walking robot with a vertical bar spinner mounted sideways, 5-5 win-loss record, very strong weapon and very heavy, but it is quite unstable on hits. And here we go for match 1 of the green bracket, Delta Wave and Willamille coming at each other. Willamille slowly approaches with those little legs in the middle. Delta Wave getting some good pops on Willamille right here. Ooh, another big hit, both robots bounce away, Willamille starts up its motor again. Almost falls out of the arena with how big it is. It really is a giant, isn't it, compared to Delta Wave, and it's dead. Well, there goes Willamille. It exploded when it hit Delta Wave. That's not how we expected it to go. That's a win by KO for Delta Wave, very clearly. Match 1 goes to him. Let's see how it goes. Match 2, let's go. Willamille and Delta Wave both up to speed. Big hit, throws Willamille away. Willamille trying to get back up with that self-right, slowly but surely getting there, spinning up the weapon. Trying to get a hit on Delta Wave before they abuse the opportunity too much. Gets hit in the ass by Delta Wave, spinning up while inverted, losing some braces. Has to take the risk to get Delta Wave off of it. And here comes another big pop. Oh! Delta Wave loses its weapon as it recoils into the wall. Immediately goes for the pit button, knowing that it has the better traction. Willamille gets another decent hit there on Delta Wave. Willamille deciding which way to spin up the weapon. Almost falls into the pit, but does a tremendous dodge there. Spins up the weapon the wrong way, but corrects itself. Stops the spin up, really risking it, spinning it that close to the wall. Delta Wave with a good push, doesn't quite hit Willamille. Willamille's weapon explodes instead, and Willamille looking very, very on the floor. I don't think it's gonna get up, but let's see where it goes. It's really trying to get up really hard. Oh, there it goes! It bounced off the wall and made it work! It is severely damaged though. You can see the legs are no longer in sync. I don't even think the left one is working, but it is still moving, so the match continues. It is now a cripple fight. Willamille trying to use whatever was left of its front chassis as, I guess, a meat shield, but it is just getting bullied around by what is left of Delta Wave now, as Delta Wave has so much more drive power than Willamille, and Willamille not quite pitted yet. It almost got away, but there it goes, and that is a fairly definitive 2-0 victory for Delta Wave over Willamille. That won't be the last we see from Willamille though, as it still goes through the Losers Rumble. For our next set of competitors, we have Honey Badger from the UK, also a spin bot with a vertical tri-bar, unranked, no win-loss record, has a strong weapon and high drive speed, but is easily damaged as its main fault. Monkey Business from the Netherlands is a thwack bot inspired by a banana, very clearly. Has a weapon of a drill, rank 10 with a 6-4 win-loss record, high tip speed while spinning, but has very frail wheel mounts. And off we go for match 1 between Monkey Business and Honey Badger. Monkey Business span up feverishly at the beginning there, spinning the drill, making it wobble aggressively, as Honey Badger is trying to position for a good hit here, trying to keep the banana facing forward. Monkey Business, sorry, I should call it by its official name. It's kind of hard to remember sometimes. Monkey Business pokes into Honey Badger's frame. Honey Badger getting some nice bites in the meantime. Honey Badger positioning to hit Monkey Business. Monkey Business going towards the pit. Breaks a wheel off in the attempted pit dodge that he makes work. Gets a decent hit on Honey Badger there, actually. Both robots out of frame. As gets another decent hit there on Honey Badger. Another decent hit on Honey Badger. Monkey Business is really making it work here. As Honey Badger spins up. Gets a decent pop on the banana. No real damage done. As the banana spins up again, Monkey Business, I apologize, spins up in midair, bounces off the floor and is now inverted. Has to get up pretty quick, otherwise it might be counted out. Oh, it's out of the arena, but it gets 5 seconds if you go out over the entry ramp. Gets back in time, and self-rights. Very good driving from the driver of Monkey Business. As Monkey Business tries to spin up, trying to bait Honey Badger into that spin of it. As the banana has taken some pretty severe damage looking at the shape of it now. Monkey Business gets stuck in Honey Badger, spins up, gets 2 decent hits, but the frame looks very buckled. I don't think it has any wheels left on the floor anymore. I think it is high-centered on one of its own pieces as one of the wheels gets ooted as Honey Badger bites it off. And that is decidedly looking like the end for the banana, as it wobbles sadly in remorse of this match's outcome. That is a fairly definitive win for Honey Badger, and let's see what the next match holds. Let's see if the banana can wobble to victory. And off we go for round 2, Monkey Business, Honey Badger. Let's see what happens. It appears that Monkey Business has some brown spots on this banana now, so it's rotting a bit. It needs to get these fights over quick, otherwise the rot will consume it. Wobbles aggressively towards Honey Badger. Honey Badger's positioning for a pit. Monkey Business almost fell in, but had enough drive power and ride height to get out. Spins up in the hopes that Honey Badger comes close enough. Gets a decent hit on Honey Badger there. Oh wow, takes some really big damage there. The back of the banana falls off, as does a wheel. As does a spike as it clips Honey Badger's wheel. Gets another decent hit on the banana. Monkey Business approaching, stabbing into Honey Badger's frame once again with that drill. As the drill gets cut off, sadly. So it is now... It doesn't have the tip anymore. It's missing a wheel. It's inverted. It's looking pretty bad for Monkey Business at the moment. Gets a decent hit on Honey Badger there, making it bounce over the air pit, but Monkey Business is inverted, so it's not legally mobile at the moment. And sadly, that's going to be the end of our banana hero in the winners bracket, as Honey Badger wins 2-0. However, we will see the banana back in the Losers Rumble. And for our next 2 competitors, we have Lilith from the UK, a spin bot with a horizontal spinner, ranked 41 with a 0 in 6 win-loss record. Has a strong weapon and good defenses, but very frail wheel mounts let it down. And we have Aseg from the Netherlands, once again a flipper bot with a 5-bar flipper, ranked 5th, 9-3 win-loss record, has high speed and a very strong flipper, but this also suffers from frail wheel mounts. And off we go for round 1 of Lilith Aseg. Lilith lifting up her arms, hitting Aseg in the front, trying to damage that flipper, trying to immobilize it as quickly as possible, as that is definitely the biggest threat to Lilith. Lilith bouncing around a bit, Aseg showing a bit of control here. Aseg losing a fan from underneath its chassis by the looks of things, gets hit pretty hard by Lilith there. Lilith positioning to make sure that it does not bounce into the wall, and Aseg does instead. Aseg has taken some really severe hits already at the start. Oh, that buckled the whole front of it. You could see the lifting arm sitting in sideways as the lifting arm just straight up breaks off, and that means that Aseg is now weaponless. He's going to have to really drive aggressively to score any sort of points at this point. Lilith doing some big hits, but lack of traction is really showing on Lilith, where it bounces away more harshly than its opponent sometimes, which is not a good thing. Aseg's system still appears intact. I just saw it pop up there. So maybe it can use that to clamp down Lilith's bar spinner. Takes another big hit to the face. I saw the whole frame buckle there. That's not good for Aseg. Aseg positioning behind Lilith, getting a decent push. Standing on top of the pit as he gets thrown into the pit button. Oh, Lilith in a precarious position there. Getting pushed by Aseg. Aseg pushed her in the spike strips. Almost flipped her. Actually did flip her. Pushing towards the pit. Misses. Lilith going in for the self-right. Self-right's a little slow to act. Aseg with a good push. Pushed it into the pit. Lilith not quite out yet. Not quite out yet. There it goes. And that is a win by pit for Aseg. What a comeback. We did not see this one coming either. And that is a very, very good match from Aseg there. Let's see how the next round goes. And off we go for round 2 of Aseg Lilith. Lilith looking precarious. Seeing what Aseg is up to. Positioning past Aseg. Trying to hit besides those plows. Try and get a hit behind the frame. Does hit behind the frame there. Beating up one of the flying blocks once again. As it flips Lilith almost out of the arena by herself. Aseg positioning for another flip. Throws her onto the bouncing pad. Aseg doing a wheelie. Trying to get under Lilith once more. Gets bounced itself. Lilith back up to speed. Aseg positioning to try and get below Lilith's frame again to try and get another one of those flips in. Turning away, turning to face Lilith. Throwing Lilith onto the air pit. Air pit sends Lilith into the floor. Aseg giving chase as Lilith spins up again. Gets a decent hit there on Aseg. Aseg turning around, trying to come around in from the side as Lilith bounces off the front. Wheeling a lot, actually, very surprisingly. Aseg takes another big blow to the face, no real damage done. Underneath Lilith again, throws Lilith into the air right there. Trying to get Lilith into a position where she cannot spin up again so he can throw it around. Aseg took another big hit to the face there. As he almost got underneath Lilith, didn't quite position it right, bouncing towards it. As Lilith bounces it away again with a decent weapon spin up there. Trying to get behind Lilith. Almost making it work, throws her into the wall. Going in for another flip, trying to go for an Uta maybe. Got very close. Lilith getting out of the way, not scoring aggression. But it does get a nice weapon hit there. Aseg really going for it. Flipping from the bar side, that's very risky. As Lilith gets another decent hit in there. Bouncing off of Aseg's front. Aseg giving chase. Lilith positioning to face. Really trying to do some damage to that plow, but it is just holding up way too well right now for Lilith. Lilith up onto the bouncing pad again. Aseg sees an opportunity, doesn't quite seize it. Positioning around Lilith, trying to get that flip. As it gets flipped by Lilith hitting its flipping arm. Lilith bouncing into the pit button. Almost got Aseg on there. Aseg gets a pretty big hit to its face again. Lilith goes flying. Lilith going over the air pit to try and find some space to spin up freely. Turning around to face Aseg again. Aseg has been nothing but aggression this whole match. Its driver is doing really well here. Driving straight into Lilith, stopping the bar. Bar spins up again. Bar spun up the wrong way and Lilith just slides straight into the pit. And that is a 2-0 victory by pit for Aseg. Very well driven robot, very interesting machine, and I hope to see it do well. Let's see how the Losers Rumble gets on. And off we go for the Losers Rumble between Lilith, Willamil, and Monkey Business. Monkey Business slides into the middle of the fight. Willamil slowly approaching. Lilith takes one of the spikes off of Monkey Business. Monkey Business being slowly targeted by Willamil. Lilith coming in from the back, trying to get a hit in on Willamil. Willamil turns around before Lilith gets the hit. Lilith flies away. Monkey Business trying to angrily poke Willamil. Angrily poking Willamil successfully. Takes a spike off though. Willamil gets a decent hit. Willamil hits Lilith on top of the head. Takes some brace damage there on an impact with Lilith as Monkey Business gets its face ripped off once again. It also looks like it has taken some more brown spots, gets thrown into the camera, almost out of the arena by the looks of things. Willamil spinning up as Monkey Business tries to mount it. Lilith positioning to try and hit Willamil into position it doesn't want, like the air pit for example. Monkey Business still staying aggressive as Lilith hits the side plows on Willamil. Willamil being a walker is allowed more weight in its frame, so Lilith is the one bouncing off in most of these hits, but because Willamil is so unstable on impact, it is struggling to stay up the right side. Gets close to Lilith here, gets a decent hit there, as the Monkey Business approaches again. It's such a weird name to say when you're just looking at a banana. As the banana takes another big hit there, something went flying really high. Banana appears to be inverted. Lilith takes a chunk out of Willamil there, actually. Rips off the side armor on the right there. Lilith going in for a self-right as Willamil approaches. Willamil gets a decent hit once again. Willamil has taken some pretty harsh damage on one of those blows with Lilith. The whole right side is just kind of gone. As the banana Monkey Business is spinning up. Willamil getting another chunk taken out of it as he tries to spin up to hit Monkey Business. Has to spin up now to stay upright, that's never a good thing. Willamil falling over, falling onto Lilith, getting a hit. In a precarious position here, trying to self-right as Monkey Business stays aggressive with two wheels. Oh, and that's both wheels gone, that's Monkey Business out. Lilith now going for Willamil. Willamil's legless actually, but all of his legs have been removed. You can see the leg mechanism work, but it doesn't have feet left. So it's immobile. It's going to try to move with a self-right, but that's hardly controlled movement. And that is going to be a win by KO, I suppose, because Lilith did do the damage to the legs. And that means that Lilith wins by double KO on both Monkey Business and Willamil. A very interesting battle. Let's see how the next one gets on. And off we go for round two. Nice close-up of Willamil's back end. The banana is now almost entirely brown, already losing a wheel on the first impact with Lilith. Getting another wheel ripped off from Willamil as Willamil approaches Lilith. Willamil falling over, getting back up though. The banana has taken some damage. It appears to still have two wheels left, so it is still mobile. Okay, no longer mobile. It has lost 3 wheels, which means that it is legally immobile. Willamil getting up. Willamil approaching the banana, as Lilith does as well. Willamil turning around, facing Lilith, knowing that the banana is dead. Oh, Willamil takes a big hit there, bending the weapon, breaking off the weapon, in fact. So, Willamil is now just a shed. It's going to use Monkey Business as a meat shield of sorts, or I guess a fruit shield. Going towards the pit button, it seems, and appears to be the direction. Yes, it is most certainly going for the pit release. I guess when all else fails, you go for the pit. The banana is still somewhat moving, which shouldn't be allowed. It's probably getting told that right now mid-fight. Willamil in some trouble, has to get a self-right off sometime soon here. Otherwise it will also be counted out. Struggling to get back up here. As it goes over the air pit, that might be the savior. Yes, it does. Willamil gets back up. Turns around to face Lilith with these side-mounted plows, which are sort of acting as a spinner killer, as the term is called. Only facing Lilith with the side. Very good strategy from Willamil here. Willamil trying to pick up Monkey Business as a meat shield once again. Not quite making it work. It's got some good defense there from the banana as Lilith bounces away. Lilith bounces into the pit. Can it get out? Willamil moving, trying to force Lilith back in there. No, you get in that pit. And that is a very unlikely victory for Willamille by pick KO because Lilith drove herself in and then Willamille finished the job. Let's see how match 3 goes as Willamille spins up. And off we go for round 3. Lilith not spinning up, Willamille facing Lilith, knowing it's the biggest threat to it. The banana spins angrily as a couple of different pieces have become brown now. Monkey Business gets a big hit on Willamille there. Willamille didn't take the damage though. The banana appears to already have been murdered once again. Now bouncing into Willamille as it just shreds itself apart while spinning. And that is now a sad banana. Willamille getting some decent hits on Lilith there. Lilith bouncing away. Oh, Willamille falling over, that's not good. Driver anxiously spinning the chassis. It needs to wait until it lands on the side so it can self-right. Driver not doing a great job here. Oh, there we go. Falling onto Monkey Business. Lilith gets a hit on the side of Willamille. Willamille really needs to get a good hit on Lilith here. Gets a decent hit there. I think both of them lost braces on that impact. Another decent hit. Willamille falls over again. That's that bad stability we were talking about earlier. Biting it in the arse. As Lilith gets a hit in there, Willamille spins up. Oh, it appears Lilith has... Yes, Lilith has lost both wheels on the right side. And that is legally immobile. Lilith cannot move straight in a straight line. And that means that Willamille takes it 2-1. And that means Willamille is our last quarterfinalists. What a surprising finish to that. Our final 12 quarterfinalists are Ace Egg, Black and White 2, Cash Crash, Delta Wave, Determinator, Honey Badger, Madame Squeak, Mental Hammer, Occult MD, Swamplow 4, Willamille, and Zoltan 7. In our next episode, we will be watching all the quarterfinals matches to decide our 6 semi-finalists. We really hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, subscribe to the channel and stop by the Discord if you're interested in competing. A link to said Discord is in the description below. From everyone in the Besiege Bots Discord, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you soon.